Have you ever been in the position where someone asks you to speak Tamil, but you're unsure whether your pronunciations are correct? Or worse, have you ever been speaking Tamil, then someone just laughs at the way you say certain words? Don't worry, we've all been there. I want to share a simple practice that's helped improve my Tamil from being mediocre to sounding more advanced. Here's what you missed in Tamil class. If you're a first-gen kid, perhaps you've had an incomplete or non-existent formal Tamil education growing up. For example, I went to Tamil class on and off. Due to the inconsistency, I lost some basic skills simply by not using them over the years. So the way I developed a good chunk of my Tamil was by listening to music, watching TV or movies, and by talking with others. Now, there isn't anything wrong with learning Tamil through conversation or the media. In fact, it helps greatly and I highly recommend it. But through my own experiences, I believe that being only dependent on your auditory skills puts you at a disadvantage to understanding the true pronunciation of Tamil words. Here's what I mean. In Tamil, there are 247 different letters in the alphabet. That means there are 247 different sounds. And on top of that, we have 3 n sounds, 3 l sounds, and 2 r sounds. So I personally find it really difficult to differentiate between different sounds at times just by listening to how someone speaks. Here's an example. Give that dress. In Tamil, we'd say, Anda sattaye kodungo. Now, I always thought the word for give in Tamil was kudu, not kodu. But I've been saying it wrong all my life. It's actually kodu. And I didn't even realize this until I had to write a sentence and people were telling me I'm spelling a non-existent word because the word for give is kodu. But just by listening, I always thought people were saying kuru. So why does this matter? Imagine if a whole generation only learned Tamil based on their auditory experiences. Eventually, we'd have a hard time reading and writing and conversing globally because we'd have so many different types of interpretations of Tamil, we'd start to lose the structure and the meaning of words. So it became evident to me if I wanted to go from being a beginner Tamil speaker to a more advanced Tamil speaker, listening to Tamil just wasn't enough. In order to ensure I'm pronouncing words correctly, I need to know how they're spelled. And this, of course, by default is aiding in my reading and writing skills. So in order to improve my pronunciations, I need to understand all the sounds. And in order to understand all the sounds, I need to go back to the basics. Yes, dun 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 dun. The Tamil alphabet. I know for a lot of first and second gen kids, this was like the scariest, most daunting chart to look at because we were told to memorize this, but Tamil's actually very logically set up if you understand what's happening. Now going across, we have our 12 uiraltikal, which are known as our vowels, and going down, we have our 18 mayaltikal, which are known as our consonants. All you really need to know are these 30 sounds, because the entire alphabet is made up of a combination of uir and may iltikal, which is why the center of this chart, these letters are called uir may iltikal. And now I remember hearing about this as a kid, and it made sense to me, but I think I got confused when we were presented with the charts that ik plus a is ka chart, and we were told to memorize them. I think that's when I just felt like I was memorizing something and the logic of what was actually happening, it didn't kick in. So I just literally figured this out a few months ago, and I feel really silly for not knowing this earlier. You know how we always are told to say ik plus a is ka or ik saha a ka? Stop saying the plus. Literally say ik a and now keep saying them really fast together. You will get the sound that they make. Ik a, ka, 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 ka. Kana, there you go. And if we go down to the third wiral, the ina, ik, I. Iki, 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 ki, ki, ki. Literally, it is that simple, and I feel so silly for not knowing this before. Another thing a lot of people struggle with is the different l, r, and n sounds. Now, I was taught this trick when I was a kid, and it really helps me differentiate between the different sounds. It all has to do with the placement of your tongue when you make l, r, or n sounds. So your palm below and the n right under it, both of them are going to hit the back of your teeth or just above it. And so on and so forth, your tongue just rolls further back as you go. You can always just say words that you know have those letters and let that help guide you. So, malar, which is flower, palli, which is school, palam, which is fruit. Of course, this is going to work well if you do it with words that you already know and are confident you can pronounce well. So let's try this with the ras. Maram, which is tree, parave, which is bird. Nai, which is dog, mennen, which is king, anna, which is older brother. Now, if you get confused between the first and second na, just say a word that you constantly use all the time. Nan, which means I. If you say nan really slowly and correctly, you'll notice that your tongue changes positions. The second na, which is with the sulis or the circles, it actually hits the roof of your tongue and moves away. Because if you were making the same sound, it would just sound like nan, which I don't think is a word. So if you're looking to improve your speaking skills, don't be afraid to practice saying words out loud slowly so you bring awareness to how you're making each sound. This definitely helped me, and I hope this will help you too.